Now, Israeli troops are poised for offensive action as tens of thousands have been gathering at the Gazan border over the past 13 days.
Since Hamas launched a deadly terror attack on the nation, Israel has targeted the militant group with airstrikes on Gaza. But the nation's defence minister has told its forces it will soon see Gaza from the inside. Tal Heinrich is the spokesperson for the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and joins us now from Tel Aviv. Good morning to you, Tal Heinrich. In terms of what was said by the defence minister yesterday, how soon will we see a ground offensive, if at all?
Well, I cannot speak of any kind of military operational activity moving ahead, but what we do know is that this operation will take time, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had said before and others, because it will take time to complete the mission that our leadership has defined for this war. And it's a war that we didn't start, we didn't want, as you know, we didn't even expect. And it started because of the massacre of October 7th, when Hamas butchered our people. And this goal is very clear. We want to dismantle Hamas. When we are done there, Hamas will be no longer. We will change the reality in Gaza for the next decades. We have decided as a nation that we can no longer live side by side with this murderous monster. They butchered 1,400 of our people. We still have between 100 and 200 who are unaccounted for, meaning that they're either hostages in Gaza with 203 other Israelis, or their bodies could not be identified. And why is that? Because some of these bodies are beyond recognition. They burned them. They turned people, children, elderly into ashes.
So, Tal, clearly Israel has the support of Western nations. Also, Biden, other world leaders urging Israel to show restraint in terms of what happens from here. In terms of an endgame, you say you want to destroy Hamas. That is easier said than done, given the network of tunnels that are there in Gaza. Also, innocent civilians caught in the middle of this. Is Israel clear what the endgame is?
So the end game is to dismantle Hamas's military capabilities and to make sure that by the end of this operation, they will lack the ability to hit us ever again as they did, but they will also lack the motivation to hurt us ever again as they did. Obviously, one of our top priorities of this operation is also to bring back our hostages, sons and daughters who are still being held in Gaza. We know what has to be done to achieve this goal. We will take the time and do whatever it takes. And as you mentioned, we are seeing this international coalition being formed in front of our eyes to confront Hamas, as was the case with ISIS. Obviously, we do not want civilians to get caught in the crossfires. We don't want civilians to get hurt in Gaza. And we don't want our civilians, by the way, in the front lines. This is why we evacuated 80,000 civilians, also up north, by the way, because we don't want other flare-ups. We evacuated 28 communities up north, and with living alongside the border with Lebanon, where Hezbollah is based. So we know what has to be done to achieve this goal, and it will take as long as it takes.
Can I ask you, before we run out of time with you, Tal, about a post on X, formerly Twitter, from Benjamin Netanyahu's office, your office official account yesterday, against the BBC, describing the BBC as committing a modern blood libel. We also heard yesterday that Israel could cut off access for the BBC in a crackdown of broadcasters. Is that what's going to happen?
I don't know about cutting off access or anything of this kind, but calling this, spreading of a blood libel, it's not only a language that the Prime Minister's office has used, but also President Herzog has used before in what pertains to the foreign media's coverage of that incident at Al Ahli Hospital. It's really baffling that international media outlets would take the word of a terrorist organization and put it just out there instead of waiting for verified information to come out. That is unbelievable. You see these animals who beheaded our people, who burned entire families, butchered them, and then simply taking their word for it. As if, there's an abundance of evidence, it's time to put the story to bed.
Tal Heinrich, I'm really sorry to cut you off. We are running out of time. The BBC, in its defence, conceded its reporter was wrong to speculate in a fast-moving situation. Didn't at any point say that it was an Israeli strike. There was certainly speculation about that. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us.